Guys, W Snowbreak. There was an interview done with the JP staffer. I saw it this morning. I had rough translations from Google. Vic Yush, shout out to him, was able to translate this properly. And I really wanted to talk to you about this. But I want to start at the end of this interview. So, a Snowbreak JP staffer had an interview in Japan about Snowbreak. But we're going to scroll down to the bottom first because there's something that I need everyone to know at the beginning of this video. Okay. Let me find it. So here we go. Recently, there has been some controversy on social media about the characters in Snowbreak creating too much male gaze. What are the project team's thoughts on this? The achievements Snowbreak has been able to make are undoubtedly thanks to the passion and support of our players. That's more exciting to me and the project team than any success shown in the data, because it taps into our original intention when making the game, which is to allow people to see our creation and enjoy it. I think this feeling is also suitable to answer this question. In this challenging and competitive age, deciding to be a game developer means you have to face several difficulties and challenges along the road, with constant obstacles and failures. The current voices raising controversy are only a small part of that. These distractions won't do anything to shake our original goal. We still want to listen to the needs of our players and fulfill their needs. We believe that our sincere hard work will elicit positive responses from players. So we prefer not to comment on any outside opinions. Guys, for those of you that have not been liking where Snowbreak is going, not realizing that Snowbreak at the beginning was not a good gacha game. It wasn't. Changing the gameplay was not going to fix this game. The world was terrible. The environments were terrible. The models were terrible. The story, it got good later on, right? But the story wasn't the best. The characters, again, bland. You have an all-female character base. You have a dorm system, and you have some of the blandest designs. Yes, I get it, a post-apocalyptic world. Listen, the changes they made were difficult and challenging. And in this competitive age of gacha gaming, guys, they had to make a decision. If they continued with the road they were going down, they would have been EOS. I have reported many of times, 2 months ago, this game, with PC included, had made over $20 million, anywhere between $22 to $26 million. If you do the math for this, it was around that, right? I reported that Snowbreak invested in a mocap studio for their new game called Mecha Break, and for Snowbreak as well. They have been doing their due diligence. They have thanked the community constantly because of recent success. They had an explosion, which we'll get into, in Japan on the 1.8 patch with Steam. Japanese players account for 30% of their revenue, which we'll get into that. But I need to highlight this because for those of you that think they're going in the wrong direction, I need to tell you this. At the end of the day, these are gacha games. These are predatory practices that these games have. So if you don't like something, you have to get out. What do I mean by that? Don't spend your money and time on something predatory like a gacha game if it changes up on you. If you liked it at the beginning, that's great. But in reality, if it would have kept that way, your game would have been gone within the year anyway. So Snowbreak is in a new place, catering to a bigger audience, to the point where now they have a huge audience in Japan. Global is loving it. China is really loving it. It's over, right? Snowbreak is in a new direction. Now, let's scroll to the top. Let's see what type of direction they're in. So here we go. At least in Japan, Snowbreak Containment Zone has been gaining popularity sometime after the game's release. In your opinion, why is it receiving so much popularity, right? That's what they basically ask. I think there are several reasons, but the most important aspect is that the R&D team is very committed to creating content our core player base enjoys, a so-called fan service focused game. Listen, I need to repeat this. Fan service focused game. For those of you who don't think fan service is the biggest aspect, you're completely wrong. It is probably as 50-50 as the gameplay. If you don't have the fan service, it's going to be rough. If you don't have the gameplay, it's going to be rough. These are both in tandem with each other now in Snowbreak. Like I said, they've been short on staff. I've reported on this like a month ago. They've said they've been short on staff, and they're trying to get more people. They're trying to change the story. They're working on changing the story. They're working on new game modes. Star Master is coming back again. Star Master is a recent one. They talked about in the Chinese first year anniversary that they will be doing some type of open world map for co-op. Guys, the improvements are coming. But what's fueling this is the fan service. It is what it is. It's a new game, and that's why I'm glad they made it, because Snowbreak really is... It should be a case study in terms of gacha gaming. It really should. Right? So it's a fan service focused game. So let's get into some other stats here. So let's see. I believe there were some important things. Oh, here we go. Outlining the percentage of players in each region. So outside of China, 60% of the player base are from English speaking countries. 30% of the player base are from 20% of the player base is from Japanese-speaking countries. But 30% of their revenue comes from Japan, guys. That's huge. And why does that matter? Because in Japan, and it'll tell you right here, can you give us some specific examples to illustrate the game's high popularity in Japan? The most specific example would probably be during Snowbreak Containment Zone's latest version 1.8, Realm of Illusion. We topped best-selling lists on Steam in Japan. They are 30% of the total revenue. This has never happened in Snowbreak until 1.8, until the fan service change. They now have a 30% revenue from specifically Japan. That's huge, guys. We're not even 30%. We're way less than that. So, again, it's in a new direction, and it's in a great direction. Let me see. Whether it be sensual, enticing outfits, or the exciting interactive scenes with characters, these aspects of the gameplay have come to represent Snowbreak. Can you tell us why you decided to pivot? It was a gradual process. Older users who have been playing Snowbreak since the launch should be able to tell, which absolutely you could definitely tell. The style in the game was completely different. And yes, it was. The style was way different. Now it's a fan service game. The models are better. I mean, it's changed, guys. Our R&D team went through a lot of trial and error, testing several designs and ideas for the game before finally determining that our current strategy of highlighting the charm of characters, focusing on bond with adjutant, and increasing the intimate interactions could improve Snowbreak overall. And it did. They absolutely did a great job. That R&D team is incredible. They listened to player feedback, and they got the best results possible. Now, the last thing I want to highlight here is the age here. So, recently the game's age rating has increased. Does that mean there would be more enticing character outfits and interactive scenes? The age rating was raised in order to allow us more freely to create game content and better serve our player base. The first interactive scene worked great and was received well by players. So the answer is yes. We'll do our best to release even more enticing outfits and interactive content. There you go, guys. Complete fan service game. They're working on the gameplay. I mean, just W Snowbreak, man. This is... I'm glad this comes out, because anybody that is upset about it has to move on. It's either you're down for it or you're not at this point. They're completely in the direction of their core audience now with this game. And then they talk about here how the Enya skin, essentially, that had the interactive skin, was their most popular skin. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll leave the link in the description, guys. Please check this article out. Listen, at the end of the day, I've been reporting on Snowbreak for the past 3 months. I've been playing the game since like November during the Haru patch. So to see where it's gone now is incredible. And listen, they've garnered a whole new audience, man. W Snowbreak, man. W Snowbreak. All right, guys, I'm out.